Hello there, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Rek, and I'm obviously an alien. I've been living on Earth for some 6 to 7 months, so I think that would make me a pretty experienced Earth expert, and I want to share some of that knowledge with you. So today's episode is going to be about humans and their self defense systems because I think that's what most creatures want to know about. And to start off, we're going to talk about humans at birth. And get ready for this because it's wild. When humans are born, they're not even fully developed. They're just kind of these gelatinous blobs that can't do anything for themselves. They can't feed themselves, they can't move around at all, they can't even roll over. And what's really wild is they even need help using the bathroom. And even if you put them down for a little too long, they don't make it. They absolutely need round the clock care, and you can't even forget for 1 second. The good news is, this doesn't last too long, and they do grow out of it. The bad news is, they don't really grow any self-preservation systems. Their teeth stay flat and dull, and they never even grow claws, as you can see here on my human hand. Their fingers just kind of end. So that's not going to cause any kind of damage, slashing or otherwise. Which brings me to my next point. Their skin is so fragile. It can be damaged even with those short stubby nails. I would say it's like putting a hot knife through butter, but if you put a hot knife on human skin, it burns all up and then they're damaged forever. It's so sensitive. Even their planet's sun will burn their skin. So let's talk about the next point. Human senses aren't very good, as you probably would have guessed, since they still go outside into their own sun to burn their skin up. But the thing is they need that sun, because human eyesight is so very poor. They can't even see in the dark, they don't see any kind of infrared light, there's not even a hint of X-ray vision, and half of the humans need to wear external lenses to help them even see as well as the poorly seeing other humans. And this isn't compensated by any other sense, because their sense of smell is probably the worst. And it's also tied into their sense of taste, so it drags that down with it too. Then their hearing, abysmal. Just sad. Absolutely sad. And they're even doing things these days to actively make it worse. They wear little pods in their ears that block out all the environmental noise, so they can't even hear the things going on around them. And a lot of the times, the things going on around them are their crafts. They don't fly, they don't hover, they're terribly slow, and they still rely on fossil fuels. Also, there's no autopilot, so these humans just keep running into each other. It's like one of the leading causes of human death. And these crafts have no ability for space travel. Humans haven't even been able to travel to their own moon. They are literally trapped just on Earth. Which is a good thing, I guess, because then they're not escaping it. So I think you've noticed by now that humans are heavily dependent on tools. And what's crazy is that studies have shown that 94% of humans don't even know how to craft their own tools. So they rely on other humans to provide these tools to them that they obviously weren't born with for self-defense, for cooking, crafting, or building their own habitats. Which, by the way, aren't anything to write home about. They build these little habitats to live in, to protect them from the environment around them, since obviously their bodies don't do that. But then they put all these openings in these habitats, multiple ways to get in, multiple everything. They've got things called doors, they've got things called windows. They didn't plan for any laser protection or any kind of projectiles coming through because the material is very flimsy, which is absolute insanity. Because I'm going to tell you about this next part, and you're really going to wonder how they've survived it all. Humans need to shut down their bodies for long, long parts of their day. Which I know, you're thinking, sure, other creatures do that. That's completely normal. We know about the sleep cycle. However, other creatures usually have claws or teeth or more hidden habitats, which basically means the humans, when they're sleeping, revert all the way back to their infant stage because they're completely defenseless, especially because they have all these poor senses, their eyes, their ears, their sense of smell. So you could really just walk up and do whatever you want to them. And most of them are such heavy sleepers that they'll never even know. But there is one thing, and that's that they usually live in groups. Humans are highly social creatures. So I guess if one human doesn't wake up, the other one could. But then, hear this, humans don't have one universal language. They all speak different languages in all kinds of different dialects, so they can't even all communicate with each other. And you would think for a creature that's so defenseless, they would have some kind of communication system. Instead, they use this different kind of communication, different languages, as a reason to battle with each other. And if you ask me, that's just insanity. And again, I know you're asking, well, how did they survive this long? And humans themselves credit this to their stamina. Humans have crazy stamina, and they're very persistent. That was all well and good back then when they needed to survive. But these days, humans have gotten so incredibly lazy, and even the thought of walking for maybe a mile or two is really daunting to humans. So do you really think that this stamina that they hold so dearly is ever going to get them anywhere? Especially now that they have these crafts that they just take everywhere. They've built their whole planet around it. They've built their whole planet to be so heavily reliant on it that it's actually destroying their real bodies. But they don't mind that, because humans only care about instant gratification. And speaking of not caring, humans have grown very accustomed to being observed by aliens, by other creatures, even by themselves. And they don't mind. They don't even notice anymore. Even when other humans tell them that they are being observed for nefarious reasons, the humans just move on. They don't care. Because to humans, if something doesn't seem immediately dangerous, they just ignore it. Even things that they know are dangerous, like creatures on their planet that can hurt them, because those creatures have bodily defense systems. They invite these creatures into their homes and call them pets. Which, by the way, I actually love. I think all these Earth creatures are so great. But as an other looking in, it's a little bit of insanity. So in conclusion, Earth is pretty much up for grabs. They've run the statistics and done the polls and all that, and they even found out that 82% of humans will even help you take over their planet. And then the other 56% are very easily manipulated. So keep this in mind when you're planning your vacations to Earth. Don't be afraid of the locals. And if you're planning on taking over, I would say best of luck, but you don't even need it.